Step up.
Step ups. So, okay, step up, stepping on and off a box, right? So some of the finer points, we typically will start with a front step up, like a low front step up. That seems to be the easiest thing for people to do, because when you move into things like a side step up, you're having to also manage not just the knee and the ankle, but you're also managing the lateral aspect of the hip and the QLs and things like that. So with a step up, we're going to be facing the platform, one foot on top of the platform. The other foot should be as close to the platform as possible. And then we like to cue with the toes up. So if we keep the toes up and lock the back foot in a dorsiflexion and lock the knee, it's a lot harder for them to push off of that leg. That's what you'll see people wanting to do. They want to load it up with too much weight and they want to kind of jump into the movement. That's what we're trying to eliminate. Okay, and we use a lot of the step up stuff as more accessory work, especially for structural balance. You got knee pain, hip pain, and things like that. That would be an early stage, kind of a GPP type of movement that we would use, right? Especially for the knees. If we're using a smaller box and it's lower to the ground, that's gonna hit more on the knee. As we raise the box up, it starts moving the emphasis up and into the hips, right? So when you're looking at step ups, you have to determine, do I wanna hit hip or do I wanna hit knee? If it's knee, lower box. If it's hip, higher box. Okay, now if I need to add in the lateral aspect or working more hip stability, now I can do a side step up. So at this point, I'm standing sideways to the platform. I'm gonna take the non-working leg. That heel is going to be in line with the toes of the working leg, right? So if this is my working foot, the heel is gonna be here, right? And as I stand up and down, I wanna return that heel back to the starting point. Again, not pushing off of that, right? Now, a regression from that would be a heels elevated side step up, where we would actually put an elevation under the heel. That also tends to drive more of the force around the knee. So if people have weak VMOs, that's a very good one to work on. And so we usually go from front to heels elevated side to foot flat side.
Now you talk something in terms of the height, but you're saying in terms of a low step, you're meaning a very low, like just a riser off the top of it.
Just a riser.
You're not talking like what we normally see of people standing up onto kind of the plyometric boxes and things like that.
Yeah, and it's earning your exercises, right? So a lot of people will go straight, freaking potato, and they'll get a bench, which you shouldn't be doing on a bench anyways, because it's a lot of instability. You really want to utilize a flat surface for this. So if you're using plyo boxes, using the smallest plyo box you can, preferably starting on an aerobic step, and then get that to where you can use sufficient loading. You know, if you can do that with half your body weight, you're doing pretty good. Then you can start raising the box if you want to. But that's what people need to understand, is you need to start in a position that's going to be mechanically perfect and technically perfect, load it, then deload it. Now we progress through by raising the box. And then you have to think, like, how high do I need the box? And most people don't need a very high box. Most people are using this because they've got knee pain or hip pain, right? So we need to understand that there's a lot of value in doing the very low box, even though it's not a very big range of motion and people don't think they're really doing a whole lot. They're doing a lot more than they think. There's a version that I thought up. I don't know what we're gonna call it yet. I don't know if we're going to bow-legged step up or what, the Charlie Chapman step up, right? Yeah. So in a traditional step up, you would have the front foot turned out about 10 to 15 degrees. So what I found is if you turn the foot out more into a 45 degree and kind of bow the leg out a little bit, it really hammers your VMO really hard. So we might have somebody in the early stages do that type of step up, heels elevated, then flat, and then progress the feet flat. And then now a more stable, a progression of doing things like a traditional type of step up. And then the loading for that can be the same as a split squats. You load the opposite arm, then you load both hands, then you go barbell on back, and you go barbell on front. And you can, on this, you can do a snatch grip overhead. I don't think it has that much use, but it could be there. More of a novelty thing than anything. It looks cool. It looks cool. It looks good for the gram, so that might be a bonus, right?
Perfect. Yeah. Step ups.
Step ups.